Hello friends. How are you? Are you glad to see the new part? I think so, because I'm glad. Be sure to support the video with your finger up and enjoy watching. A huge beautiful building, you can even call a cottage, stood on the street, illuminated by the sun. There were two girls standing at the entrance, the red-haired one we already know and her mother. After school, come straight home, don't stay anywhere. The eldest of the women was instructing. I know, I'm already an adult. The girl with red hair answered. Near the nearest fence, her friend was already waiting for her, also a girl we know named Lily, next to whom there was a magical beast. E.g., light chick, monster demon level. A pretty handy magical beast with low combat skills. Its limit is level 2 awakening. Some say that this beast has an unusual bloodline. Skills, light beam low rank. A healing spell. Sorry about the wait. Yuden said, to which he received an answer. Nothing, I just came myself. They started walking to school, chatting along the way. What did you do with the herbs yesterday? The red-haired woman asked. Sorting alone took all night. Lily answered. The gates of the school, through which a huge number of children passed. Yutong and Lily also came to this place and began to say goodbye. Well, I went to class. See you. Yuden said, waving to his girlfriend and hurrying to school. Yeah. I'll give you the finished medicine in the afternoon. Lily answered and went in the other direction. Entering the classroom, the red-haired girl greeted her classmates and sat down at her desk. She was immediately approached by two girls who were twins. Both had pink hair and eyes. Yuden, an exchange student, came to us today. I also know that he has something to do with the law. They spoke. Yuden didn't even have time to be really surprised when the teacher came into the classroom. Kids, the lesson is starting, so I ask everyone to take their seats. Today we have a new student in our class, he came from abroad. The teacher was broadcasting. Come in. She said, and I, dressed in a raincoat, covering my head with a hood, went into the classroom, approaching the teacher. All the children immediately started whispering. A foreigner? A child? A dwarf? Why is he wearing a cape? Such questions were asked from the classroom. The student just arrived in our city yesterday, so help him get used to it. The teacher spoke. Not from our city? Yuden wondered, watching me closely while I introduced myself. I'm Zheng Lan. As you may have noticed, I am a magical beast. Taking off my hood, I was broadcasting, and when everyone saw my appearance, they were delighted. He can talk. Delightfully. Children were screaming. My acquaintance, a red-haired friend, was a little embarrassed. How charming. What a coincidence, that little ant also arrived in the city only yesterday. I'm worried that mice or crows might offend him. Her thoughts were interrupted by the teacher, making a statement. Hush, school time has begun. Zheng Lan, sit on the right. As I walked to my seat, Yuden kept talking to herself in her head. Damn him. And why I'm thinking about that jerk. As soon as I took my seat, I immediately turned to my neighbor. Hi, could you share a piece of paper with me? Suddenly, without having time to understand anything, Yuden turned to me with a shout. Shut up. Don't stop me from thinking. And at that moment our eyes converged on each other. My whole body immediately went numb and I agreed with her in a panic. As soon as I managed to gather my thoughts and turn away, Yuden declared. Have we, by any chance, met anywhere before? To which I quickly replied. No. You must have made a mistake. After that, I quickly started making plans in my head. Calm down. Damn, and why is it so coincidental that this girl and I are in the same class? Wait, I'm a magical beast now and I look different. If I pretend I don't know her, she probably won't figure me out. Haha. I'm so smart. After my reflections, I took the most gentlemanly pose and declared. Hi, I'm Zheng Lan, nice to meet you. And he held out his hand to her. She accepted the handshake and said. Likewise, my name is Yuden. Feel free to ask me for help if anything. I was flattered by such words. Really? Thank you very much. I answered, realizing how brilliant I am after all. I tried to pull my hand away, but it didn't work out. You can already let go. I declared and saw her insidious face, and then, making a malicious smile, she began to speak. Did you really think I wouldn't recognize you? I'm surprised you changed your appearance so quickly. I might not even recognize you, you little asshole. I was electrocuted once again after such words, because I really believed that my plan had worked and through my teeth, I said. You're F. What are you doing? Let go, it hurts me. After that, I decided to try to pretend to be a fool. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Trying to hold my face with a brick, I said. Don't pretend, I know it's you. After that, she put her hand on my neck, as if we were friends and continued. Where were you last night? I was worried, by the way. What are you wearing? And what are you doing here? Listening to her questions, I still tried to continue pretending to be a fool. You confused me with another insect. But the girl continued to stand her ground. Ha. Don't try my patience. If you don't want to talk nice, I'll find another way to get you to confess. After that, she began to squeeze my paw harder. What are you going to do? I was scared, realizing what she was starting to do. Bitch. Choosing violence? You're such a bitch. Expecting pain, I shouted, but suddenly I noticed that nothing was changing. What happened? Why doesn't it hurt at all? Hey. That's right, my level is now higher than hers, I no longer need to be afraid of her. I determined it. The girl, thinking that it hurts me very much and she dominates me, said. Well, are you going to confess now? You're right. I am the ant. I decided not to hide anymore, remembering how she offended me when I was little. Well, you Tong, I will torment you and return all the pain that you caused me in double size. With a sly smile, I thought about revenge. The girl made a victorious face. Huh. So I was right, but who did he meet yesterday? She thought, and then turned to me. Tell me about it. How did you get into this school? Also, why do you look like that? Hearing her questions, I made a victorious grimace and decided to show her my place. Well. Why would I tell you that? Bitch. I confidently declared and saw her, the most angry face, it was just felt that she wanted to punch me. Eh? I didn't understand, come on, repeat it. She asked, but I continued to stand my ground. So young, and already hearing problems? Even if you get down on your knees and apologize now, I will never forgive you. In a confident tone, she declared. Ha. And why would I apologize to you? Is it you who should be apologizing? We continued our verbal sparring, holding hands. I'm making you regret your words. She continued, to which I replied. Try. I'm not afraid of you at all. Then he showed a victorious smile on his face. But at that time, we had the same thought in our heads. I'll let you feel all my power. The girl decided to act more seriously. You can only blab. We'll see how much you have enough. She declared and began to press my paw even harder, after which a question arose in her head. Why can't I squeeze his claws anymore? Looking at her attempts, I decided to be sarcastic again. Oh, my dear Yuden. Haven't you had breakfast today? And this is your strength? And the next moment, after my words, she already exclaimed in pain as I squeezed her hand harder. She started making such sounds as if we were not just holding hands, but at that time thoughts were spinning in her head. Which one? Why does it hurt so much? Damn. When did he become so strong? No, I can't lose to him. But. I looked at her face and was a little embarrassed. Those overwhelming sounds again. People, I actually have feelings too. And because of them, I don't even raise my hand against you. The next moment, the girl decided in her head. Okay, this quarrel won't lead to anything. After that, she said in a voice. I'll let you go this time, but know that he was the first and the last. I looked at this scene and was surprised. Oh my god. She's got a lot of arrogance. Yuden moderated her ardor a little, and interest got the better of her. What happened to your strength? You don't look like a demon that just evolved. She asked. Well, I have already taken the king's bar, so I answered in this manner. And what? Is that so interesting to you? I don't really want to talk about it, but if you beg, maybe I'll tell you. The girl clearly didn't like my words, and she clearly wasn't going to beg me. Pouting and offended at me, she turned away in the direction of the teacher, thinking in her head. You'll see, even if you don't tell me anything, I'll find out everything myself. Looking at her, I already felt my victory. You're still too weak to fight me. I thought, after which I decided not to tear up the ends and smooth out our relationship a little. School has just started. There's still a lot of time ahead. Making the most kind smile on my face, I told her. During our argument with Yuden, I didn't even notice how I finished the lesson, and the teacher announced. That's it for today, classes are over. As soon as the teacher left, the chatter in the classroom immediately began. I was plastered from all sides and started being bombarded with questions. Hey. How did you get into our school? Yes. How did you do that? I decided to answer their questions in order to improve relations. Well. I had to hide in the city because I offended my fellow countrymen and could no longer live in the forest, and when I had nowhere else to go, I met the director and joined the class. Yudin listened to my explanations and thought with a malicious face. Did you offend your fellow countrymen yesterday? No wonder you had to come to town. I talked to you yesterday. Meanwhile, the rest of my classmates, after my story, and in particular the girls, began to flirt with me. It's so sad. Do you want to stay with me? The first one asked. Yes. You can stay with me. Another one said, and I already imagined in my head what we would do at their house, answering. What a great idea. The smile was shining on my face. Suddenly, Yutunu jumped up from her seat and slammed the table with force, shouting. No way. Zheng Lan will stay with me. I tried to calmly react to this by asking. What is it? But there was an explosion in my head. Damn. This girl is trying to ruin my day. Suddenly, Yudin blushed and embarrassedly began to answer my question, even stuttering a little. That's because. And then she turned away a little and gathered her thoughts, continuing. I just wanted to repay the debt for the service rendered to me earlier. Exactly. Right. That's all. After Yudin's statement, everyone, the coolest girls of the class, turned away from me, saying. In that case, we won't argue with Yudin. Yes, Yutong's parents' family was noble, and their house is large and luxurious. Hearing this, I even started crying, but I held back my tears as much as possible. Suddenly it dawned on me. Are there sexy maids in the house? Is that right? After that, images of two beautiful girls in maid costumes appeared in my head, one of whom was talking. Would you like to start with breakfast today, master? Or do you want to take a bath first? Or do you want to start with? As soon as my thoughts played out to the limit, I immediately fell on my knees in front of Yutong and began to pray. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked at all. I'm sorry. Yudin, with reddened cheeks, decided to accept the apology. I was wrong to do this to you when you saved my life. And I continued. No. It's all my fault. Since school was over and it had already been decided where I would live, Yudin and I were already at the entrance to her mansion. Wait here a minute. I'll stop by to warn you. Yudin declared and I agreed with her nicely. Suddenly she opened the door and the first thing we saw was someone's huge shoe crushing a cockroach, but despite this, Yudin began to speak. I came back. Sister Lingfei, are you here? I need to talk to you about something. The maid I had been dreaming about appeared before my eyes. Her costume accentuated those wonderful eyes, yes, eyes, as well as toned legs. That's just her voice and the speech she said next. I didn't quite like it. Most of all, I hate bugs. Bed bugs are the enemy of maids. How dare you enter the house? Are you so tired of living? Turning in my direction, this sexy lady declared. At first I was confused by this, but pulling myself together, I began to push the gentleman's speech. What are they afraid of? What to be afraid of? I'm a magical beast now, not a bug. Besides, I've never killed bugs before. Yudin was surprised by my phrase and decided to ask. Really? Do you really think so? The next second, I was already hugging her leg in a panic. No. I'm scared. I was talking, and Yudin asked me to let go of her leg. What kind of animal is this? The blonde in the maid costume asked. This is my classmate, can we let him stay at our house? The girl asked, but the older woman cut off at the root. Never. She replied. Why? Isn't the house full of empty rooms? Yudin tried to convince her. And if it's a dangerous animal? It's too dangerous to live with a beast that doesn't have a contract. The blonde was talking, but I decided to interrupt her. Excuse me. I started and continued. May I interrupt you? After this phrase, the blonde drew attention to me. I'm not some dangerous magical beast. Don't think that just because you are a servant, you can say something bad about me. I'm definitely not a bug. The girl leaned closer to me, so much so that her bust began to drink even more and asked. You can talk. She was surprised, and I confirmed this skill by answering in the affirmative. I don't mind you living here if you behave yourself. Somehow this woman quickly became kinder, and I already stopped being afraid of her and puffed out my chest. Really? Then I'll do what I'm told. The girl smiled at my words. Yes? It's beautiful, then I agree. She replied. When the situation finally settled down and everyone was in a good mood, the blonde continued the conversation. It's still a long way to lunch, why don't you and Yutong go and choose your room? She offered, pushing her chest forward, which caused a slight blush to appear on my cheeks. Of course, I answered enthusiastically, but in my head I had something completely different. Oh, the maid with big breasts, she's strict, but she looks good. Oh, I can live with her in the future. I was already covered in my wet dreams, from which Yuden's hand pulled me out, which made me incredibly scared. "Zheng Lan," she declared. "What are you looking at?" Getting close to my ear, she continued in a whisper. "No matter what." Sweating a little, I answered, and Yuden immediately began to make claims against me. "Don't lie. I've seen you staring at Sister Ling Fei all this time." When I heard this, I immediately tried to justify myself by pretending that it was impossible. Me? How could I? I am an ant, an evolved beast, how can I be interested in people? If I really loved people, I would have liked you first. I decided to go on the offensive right away so that Yuden wouldn't bother me anymore, but suddenly. "Really? Do you really think so?" she asked. "Sure. You may have a bad temper, but you are very beautiful. It's true." In a panic, I stuttered a little and saw that she had moderated her ardor a little. It was close. Fortunately, I managed. I thought. Suddenly, Yuden made a snide face and continued our dialogue. "But even if you like me, it's useless. I have no intention of having a love affair with a magical beast, so I advise you not to think like that." I decided to keep silent, but interesting thoughts were spinning in my head. Funny. How dare you stab me in a sore spot? And then he made the face of a true predator and decided. I'm just trying to get a little more information about the world, and I won't be here for a few days anyway, so I'll be patient. While I was thinking, Yutong had already started walking inside the house, so I hurried after her. Yuden, wait for me." I asked, and she asked me what I needed. "Can you show me the room?" I asked. The house turned out to be incredibly huge, but after some time, we finally reached the door, which Yuden opened and said, "How do you like this room?" My gaze immediately fell on the center of this room. Oh. Such a big bed. How soft. Wow. I immediately plopped down on it and began to spin from side to side. There are many more rooms available. "Are you sure you don't want to watch some more?" Yuden suggested. But I was already lying on the pillow, anticipating how well I would sleep. "No need. This one is perfect," I answered. Yuden left the room and said before closing the door. "Good. You can talk to Ling Fei in the kitchen if you feel that something is missing." Then she closed the door, which I stared at and started talking to myself. Finally, there is no one. I exhaled and put my paw to my crystal on my forehead. Master, are you there?" The master immediately responded to my call, got out of the crystal and began to speak. "Bastard. What do you want from me?" he asked me unceremoniously. Master, get out. I want to ask you a favor." "Okay, wait. I left my staff inside," he answered, and as soon as he took out his staff, he flew up in front of me and continued. "Student. Speak. What do you want from me?" "Master, take me back to the treehouse." I asked for a favor, to which the old man was embarrassed. "You can do it yourself." "Me? How? Don't I have the skills for this?" I asked, and the old man answered. "To be precise, it should be the Book of 10,000 Beasts on your head." "The Book of 10,000 Beasts?" I was confused. "Isn't the Book of Beasts an artifact for summoning?" I asked, and the old man began to answer. "The most important difference between the Book of 10,000 Beasts as a summoning artifact is that its summoning channel is not one-sided, but two-sided." I was immediately delighted with this answer. In the future, I will sign contracts with a few more beasts so that I can go anywhere in the future. I told him, but he immediately stopped me. "Don't be too cocky. With your current magic power, you won't be able to open a channel and cast a summoning spell more than a few times before your magic power is depleted." I reached out to the crystal on my forehead and grabbed it. "Anyway, I'll just come back for a quick look, and the magic will recover later." Having said that, I threw the crystal into the corner of the room. The Book of 10,000 Beasts. I opened the channel of the magical beast rat. And after my words, the crystal turned into a book and began to shine with a purple flame, which undoubtedly surprised me. "Good. Let's take a walk," the master said and began to enter the formed portal.